this video, I'll show you how to make a variety of mini waterfall fountains that bring your terrain boards to life. First up, grab some cardboard and cut out into strips. This will make the base of the fountains, and then I use some masking tape to hold them all together. I decided for the base of one fountain to be in a pentagon shape and the other as a circle. For the pentagon base, the walls are straight, so I can use my foam tape method for the bricks. I went ahead and covered the base in uneven bricks as I wanted it to look old and worn down. I focused on placing bricks on the edges first to create a better, more intertwined shape with the brick pattern. Next, I grabbed my jar of buttons and searched for good shapes to use for the fountain toppers. I ended up going for this tiered approach. I made this little central structure from the foam bricks and then a foam block in the centre. I then grabbed some air dry foam clay to begin putting all the shapes together. For my circular base fountain, I had to use foam board for the bricks so that they wouldn't bend around the curves as they would with my foam tape brick method. Next, I cut up some shapes for my drinking water fountain base. I then covered it in a layer of foam clay so I could press some brick patterns into it. For this, I used a roller from Green Stuff World. Next, I added a circle of cardboard to the base of my fountains, and then it was time to base everything in a thick coat of glue and black acrylic paint. This would work as a primer, but also the glue will strengthen the base structure. I added some sand too to get a grainy texture. This will also help strengthen the foundation. When my foam clay was dry, I went in with a nail filer to tidy up those edges. I also found this mesh canvas sheet which I'll use later as a drain cover. Now it's time to add some colours. I opted for dark greens, blues and greys to give the bricks an old grungy look. I then went in with other dark colours on random bricks to give it a bit more variety. I then used a whitewash on a paintbrush to flick white spots on the rocks to make them look more natural and to add some imperfections. And finally, I added a coat of oil wash to help bring all the colours together and look a bit more uniform. I found this little dollhouse gargoyle which I will use as the fountain topper, and I gave it the same paint treatment to blend in too. After everything dried, I went back in with one more paint splatter onto the bricks, and this time I opted for a light grey instead of the white. I added some silver paint to the grate I made from earlier and then added watered down scrag brown to add a rust effect. I will use this little dollhouse knocker as the water fountain feature. This old bottle cap will make a great basin, I just need to cut it in half. I also went in with some moss effect to age the fountains. I found these large bits of glitter which I will use as coins on the floor of the fountains. I used part of an old plastic fork to create the base of my water stream. I then used UV resin to start letting the resin flow down as water and then curing it in different spots as it fell to give a nice water effect. I also added some water texture on the surface to create some splashes where the water lands in the basin. For one fountain, I wanted to create the illusion that it is icy and frosted over, so for this I used AK sparkles. I also used a thin fishing wire to help guide the resin down the fountains. I then make sure to cure everything properly. You'll know when it's fully cured because it shouldn't be sticky to the touch. You can either do this in a cure machine or leave it out in the sun. I added a few small leaves and moss as the final finishing touches and some spray on glue to leave a frosty finish on my frozen fountain. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed and I'll see you in the next video.